So secondary storage, so let me write that, is just simply where you have memory. Secondary storage is, so let me go.
I have a question, sir.
Uh-huh.
It's about the math lectures. So what is it post that topic? As I said, when they post the test lectures, sir, and they see that math is on Tuesday. What do you do, sir? You not play the just that I with it.
Well, we wouldn't have. Wait, do we have math on Tuesday, right?
Sir?
Do we have math on Tuesday?
Sir, I don't see the test timetable out as yet, sir.
Right, so it's being finally prepared. So it's being finalized, and you'll know the date. But the math
Sir,
test.
I don't see the test timetable for other subjects. That's the
Right. At the end of Friday, at the end of today, you'll see the math, the timetable for every subject posted. But we're just finalizing it. But let me ask you a question. The math date for the exam will either be Monday, right? Or the day when we have the next class. So it would not be a day where you don't have math. Understand?
Which is on Thursday.
Right, exactly. So write this for me. Secondary storage. Okay? This is computer. This is computer memory that is stored outside of the CPU. Okay, let me go for a diagram of the CPU for you. CPU diagram.
So can I share my screen from image of the CPU, sir?
Wait, I have an image. I have an image. All right, one moment. Hey, there you go. So here's an image. Wait, that's not an image. That's not an image. My bad. My bad.
No, that is not an image, sir.
That's not an image. You're right. There we go.
It.
I don't know why this isn't working for me. All right, let me save the image. Save it as. All right. So if you don't have the image of a CPU, it's very important because typically in your IT exams, they'll ask you for the parts of the CPU. So there we go. There's a diagram of the CPU.
Can I stream? Can I share my screen to show an image of the CPU?
All right. So after you show me, because if I give you permission to share the screen, it'll take off my screen, and I just want you to look at this for me. So so tell me what are the parts of the CPU that you have?
Sir, the ALU, sir.
Right. CPU.
Uh-huh.
The input.
The input devices, the output devices.
Right. Okay, good. Do you know the definition of each? Do you know the definition of each part of the CPU? So, if I was to ask you on your exam, what does the arithmetic logic unit purpose? What is the arithmetic logic unit's purpose? What would you tell me?
The logic operations of the computer.
Right, but yeah, that's correct. So I'll give it that mark. So it helps with the operations, logic operations, or mathematical operations of the computer. It helps with the logic / mathematical operations of the computer. There we go. Okay. The input devices. Give me an example of an input device. We're just summarizing everything that you've learned over the past couple months. Input device, give me an example, would be Khalil, give me an example of an input device.
Sir.
Uh-huh.
A keyboard.
Okay, you input, okay. So we could say a keyboard, that's correct. Because if you're using a laptop, your keyboard is technically on the surface of the laptop. Right? Now give me an example of an output device.
Or the printer.
The printer. Right? So we're saying that when you're typing on your laptop, you're using input, but then when you want to extract that message that you typed, you use a printer, so it's an output. But the key thing is that there's a memory unit operating to compute what you're doing. And the secondary storage is saying that that memory that holds what you're doing is not on the CPU itself. Understand?
Understand, sir.
Okay, good. So let's now understand further how does it work. So the secondary storage for me. So let me put all of this in underneath the picture and let me close the picture. So did you write off the notes a while ago?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So let me close this up. There we go. And then now I'm going to continue to say the secondary storage is something called non-volatile. Write that for me. It's very important. Non-volatile. Okay? And what this essentially means, remember, when you're playing games on your computer, right, and you turn it off, what happens to the game?
It comes off, sir.
Right. So that means that that game can be called volatile because once you turn off your computer, that game essentially gets erased as well. You understand?
Yes, sir. I understand, sir.
Right. But if a secondary storage is non-volatile, that means that when you turn off the CPU, what happens to the memory that is stored on the secondary storage? It is
Volatile.
it is not erased because it's non-volatile. Right? So that means that we still have our memory even after we shut it off. So we can say, therefore, non-volatile means that the memory remains stable when the computer is turned off. Okay? All right. So that's the wrap up of the definition of a secondary storage. We correlated it or we related it to the CPU. Let's small up that picture. There we go. All right. So can you, I mean, still, there we go. Okay. Now let's move on. Now we're going to say that underneath this, let's close this up. Right? We need to understand what falls under storage, secondary storage. Give me some. Do you know any types of secondary storage?
Sir, the compact disc.
Right, this compact disc,
Flash drive.
the flash drive. Okay. Okay. The hard drive and the floppy disk.
What about the memory cards?
Memory card. Okay, we can put that to the. It's the same thing as a flash drive, but we'll put it. So, and then since you're putting one, I'll also put one called the magnetic tape. So, we are going to define each of them. Do you know the definition of each? Do you want me to go through them?
Can I use my notes from the previous classes?
Right. So you just use your notes on the previous. So that's what I'm asking. Do you have the definition of each of these already? Okay. So I'm guessing you do have the definition. So I don't have to go through the actual meaning of each of them since you have the definition. Okay. Now let's understand though why the hard drive is the most important secondary storage. Okay. Would you believe me if I told you that when you have a hard drive, okay, you can load millions of things on it. Millions. Would you believe me?
Yes, sir.
Would you believe me if I told you that if you had a hard drive for your computer, you could have loaded a million things on it compared to what your computer could do? So it could literally store more things than what your computer can even store. That's the power of a hard drive. So if you have, let's say, a lot of software on your computer, right? Your hard drive, if you buy the right one, can hold more space than your computer. Okay? So let's define it. A hard drive, this is the only one we're going to define. So that important secondary storage is defined as a typical stack of metal disks, right? Which is inside a computer case. A computer case. It stores a lot of data, right? But there's something that is there's something that's a drawback. But there is a drawback to using hard drives. Khalil, let me ask you a question. Is a hard drive a computer?
No, sir.
Right. So if it's not a computer where you can look at your files and touch them and even play them, right? Then that means a hard drive can only be used when you have what? So you can only
Files, sir.
right. You said files, correct? But a hard drive can only be used when you have a computer. So you can only hard drives can only be accessed from computers. So you can store the information, yes, but if you want to obtain information from it, you have to use a computer to look at them. Be used from a computer. That's the drawback. Okay? And write this on me. There are two types of hard drives. Internal or external hard drive. Now you can tell self-explanatory what each of them means. All right. Internal essentially means it comes with the computer itself, right? External means that it can be removed. Okay. So now that we understand why the hard drive is the most important, we can continue now to say. So did you write off that?
Yes, sir, I have.
All right. Let's continue now to say. Well, let's see. Did you go to input?
No, we did input devices in class, sir.
Okay, good. Output as well, right?
Did output, yes, sir.
Okay, good. Let's move on. Understand binary, right? Binary systems and binary addition.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Let's rapidly go through then. You know to subtract binaries. Okay, software. I touched this with you, but let me know. Did you finish software? Did you get to finish it before the exam term? Like, did he talk?
Well, sir, we started software a few weeks ago, sir.
Okay, so let's wrap up software then, right? So let's put a second heading of software. Secondary storage. So let me go back in here, and so the big heading now is gonna be software. Summarize software quickly. Let's go in here. There we go. Okay. Now, software. So write this on me. There are two types of software, and you know this already, right? Two types of softwares. What are they?
Application software.
Uh-huh.
And system software.
Right, correct. Application and system software. Okay, good. So you do know that system software is what comes with the computer. Application is what you install on a computer, right? Um, but there's something that you need to understand about softwares on a whole. There is a difference, right, Sammy? There is a difference between custom written software and customized software. I'm not sure if you went through this, but essentially when you have an application software, right? You typically hear people say, "Oh, I wrote a software for my company," or "I wrote a software for my friends," right? But they're misleading you. It's either case they customized a software or they essentially made one. But in most cases, not. Sometimes they made it, but majority of people just say I customized it. But let's understand when you custom write a software, when you custom write a software, right? It is specially made for one person or business. So it's custom to me, it's custom to us, only one selective group of person, right? When
Since there are errors there when you customize the software.
right, put a hyphen in between. My bad. Put a hyphen in between. When you custom write, when you custom write a software, it is specially made for one person or a one group of persons, such as all right. For example, take the Heinz Simonich website. Can other schools go on that website and use it?
No.
Right. So that means that Heinz Simonich website is a custom written software. It's only made for people who attend Heinz. Right? But
people don't attend Heinz, but they're not going to have any access to the website, right?
Right. They're not gonna have any purpose to using the website. Not that they're banned from it, but it wouldn't have any purpose to them because it wouldn't have anything relevant to people who don't attend Heinz. For example, it talks about the Heinz timetable, Heinz book list. If you didn't go to Heinz school, you would need a book list. So it's not applicable to you if you don't go to Heinz. Understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now let's understand customized software now. So let's highlight custom write, and then let's talk about customize. When you customize a software, right? It is a general purpose system. For example, menus or templates. All right, let's take a step back now. When you log on to Google, Khalil, is it a case that there's only one website on Google?
Yes, there is.
Is it a case that if I search for anything, I'll only get back one website result? No.
No.
Right, you get billions. You get millions, billions of research results, right? So that means that Google is customized for a general purpose. It doesn't give you one website that match your search. It gives you millions. So that means that it's simply a menu or index. So let's write that word, index or index. Because Google is simply an index of websites, right? If Google was really a search engine, right, it would have given you only one website for your question. So if I typed in, what is today's date? Millions of websites have today's date. So that means that it isn't a custom written software. It is simply a general. Right, exactly. Like if you type in right now, and I bet you if you type it right now, type in October 23, 2020 on Google. Tell me how much results you get.
Billion.
Bill exactly. So that means that it's not custom written, it's just customized for you to see every result.
Yeah.
Right? So another example of a customized software is the menu. When you go to a restaurant and you see different options, right? That's a customized system. When you go on, for example, Word and you see templates for you to that's already made for you, those are customized software. Okay, those are the two types of softwares underneath applications.
Very bad reason to die.
You saw that? um, not to worry, not to worry. It'll still be up by time. Okay, okay. So what if now? So let's say that after I've decided to make my website for Heinz, right? Another school contacts me and say, "Hey, I want that same website as well, but not for Heinz, but for my school." That means that I would have needed to create a general purpose software. That's the next topic. General purpose software. So if another school sees Heinz Simonic website and said, "Hey, I like the layout. I want that for my school as well. Come and work for me." They want a general purpose software that looks just like theirs, but it's not Heinz. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We don't need to go into the specifics to say, but let's just really write a sentence to summarize it. So when you have a general purpose software, right, it can either be a customized, such as the one we said beforehand, where Google gives you a lot of search results, customized, or integrated. That's very important. That word is very important. Integrated. Okay. Khalil, do you do integrated science?
Sense.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the subject integrated science?
So is it called human and social biology?
Right, exactly. It's called human and social biology now. But back in my day, and I say it like I'm very old, it used to be called just integrated science. And that subject is basically combining different sciences such as physics, biology, and chemistry, putting it into one subject for younger students. So that means that it's combining things. So it's integrated. So if you have an integrated software now, it's combining different softwares together. It's different from customizing it. Understand?
Oh, yes.
Right? Okay. So when you have a general purpose software, so remember, general just means it can go for anybody. When a person calls Heinz and said, "I want to have a website just like yours," the website that they want is either a customized one that looks like Heinz or an integrated one that has Heinz in it, but also something else. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Okay. So that covers software. Let's cover that. So we just summarize secondary storage, software, and we're going to summarize now operating systems. Okay? Let's go
So
operating.
can I put it on a separate heading?
Right. So put it under separate headings. And what I'll do for you, I'll give you questions for each topic that we'll go through for you to study over the weekend. Okay? So for secondary storage, I'll give you a question to answer. For software, I'll give you a question. And for operating system as well, you'll get a question. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for operating systems now, right? What are softwares run on? Like if you want to access a software, what do you have to be on to access that software?
Any program, sir?
Right, okay, you can say that. But what kind of
The
computer?
computer.
Right, exactly. And a computer needs an operating system. So if you want to use a software, you have to have a computer. And to have a computer to access that software, you need an operating system. Good. Okay. Now, do you know the parts of an operating system? Uh-huh. The user.
Sir, is it about Microsoft, sir?
No. Okay, so I'm guessing he didn't go through it, so I won't go too much into it. But here are the parts of a operating system. You have the user interface, the software interface, and the graphical. Wait, no. The user interface and the software interface. So if he didn't go through this topic, then I won't touch it, right? Because that means it wouldn't be on your exam, okay? So do you recall anything such as the user interface?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall him talking about the user interface at all? No, right?
User, no.
Okay,
User
good.
interface, like the
No, I'm saying, did your
Windows, right?
yeah, but I'm saying, did your teacher go through this topic with you?
But sir, we were doing software, sir.
Okay, so I'll stop right there then. Let's go back to software then. So we aren't gonna. So you can still write what you're gonna be doing next after the exam, which is operating systems. But let's go back to software. Okay. One second. Let me put my thing to charge. One moment. Okay. Okay. The car with Jackson was in the waiting room all along. My bad.
But you didn't see him in the meeting.
I didn't see him because I was focused on the class. I waited 10 minutes though. So I waited a very long time. I,
Professor, why isn't he in, sir?
I admitted him. I'm not sure why. It might have been a very long time now since he's been in the waiting room, but it surely isn't my fault because I waited 10 minutes before I even started. Right? And I gave him ample time to join. Okay, let's get back to it. Okay. Yeah, I'm guessing he left because I'm admitting him and I won't register him. Okay. So, general purpose software. When you have a general purpose, it either is customized or it's integrated. So now that you told me that you didn't pass the stage, let's go more in depth into software. Okay, let's go back here. Okay, and let's say now a customized. No, we've already talked about customized. Integrated software.
I don't see it right here.
Oh my bad. There you go. Integrated software.
And integrated software.
Good catch. Good catch right there. And integrated software. But the good thing about this, Khalil, the class was recording, so I'll just send it to the Kari after. Right. And
I said the meeting is going to be 3 minutes.
okay, so let's just rejoin after I say the sentence. Right? So write something. An integrated software is a group of applications is a group of application is a group of applications, right, that can work together to offer a range of functions. So do you use Microsoft Word? Khalil, do you have Microsoft Word?
You guys, sir, it's at 3%.
Right. So do you use Microsoft Word?
Yes, yes, sir, I use it often.
Right. So example, Microsoft Word is made by Microsoft. Right?
I have a question, sir. Sir, do humans create Microsoft?
Right, exactly. So let's look at the family tree of Microsoft. So let me create a table. Right, there we go. So Microsoft. Let me close up this. There we go. All right, Microsoft makes Microsoft Word, but they also make Microsoft Excel. Have you ever heard of that word? Microsoft Excel. Right. And then let's put another one. Microsoft, let's see, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint, right? PowerPoint. Publish. You know them. Okay, good. Nice. Microsoft Publisher. Nice. I use Outlook for my email. Right.
Do they use Microsoft Publisher to publish text?
Yes, they do. And here's why. When you use Microsoft Publisher, because it has word feature, you can type your book on Microsoft Publisher and then you can just export it as a book. Right? So the different applications under Microsoft work together to give you a powerful function. So if you don't want to just write an essay, but you want to write a book, you use Microsoft Publisher. If you want to write a database of every student that goes to Heinz Simonich, you use Microsoft Excel. If you want to create a presentation, uh-huh.
Is there anything as Microsoft database?
Yeah, there is. It's Microsoft Excel. So
Microsoft Access too.
Right.
Microsoft InfoPass.
Right. Microsoft Access is actually
Microsoft Edge.
All right. So those are examples of application that has a wider range of functions. Okay. All right. On that note, let's pause the class there. Okay, let's continue now. Okay. So that was general purpose software. Tell me when you're finished so I can just close this up. You finished? Let me give you a moment. So that was the first heading underneath application software. Okay, let's write that. So that was application software. That was the first heading underneath. Let's put that there. Let's put that there.
What skills does it take to work in Microsoft?
Can you repeat?
What skills does it take to work in Microsoft?
It takes a master's degree, college degree, all types of degrees. Right. So that was the first software that we just talked about. Let's go into now special written. All right, let's close this out. So right, that's something special written software. Special purpose written software. My bad. Special, let me write it for you. Special purpose written software. Okay. Now, if you're not being general in talking and you're being specific, what are you how many things are you talking about if you're being specific?
Many things, sir.
No, if you're speaking general, you're speaking about many things. But if you're specific, how many things are you speaking about? One thing. So if you have a special purpose software, you're accomplishing one thing, one task. Right? So let's write a quick sentence about it. So now, taking a back from its general purpose to special written, it is essentially any single task, right? Huh? Yeah, send it back because I didn't get a chance to put it in my inventory. Right. So now, okay, let me copy it one moment. Copy it. There we go. All right, got it. Okay, so any single task, right, is a can be under special purpose written software, right? And it is effective. Let me say, special purpose written software has any single task being accomplished. Okay? It performs this with far fewer people. And we call these people programmers. But there is a drawback to this type of software. All right? Khalil, let me ask you a question. If you're walking on the road, right, and you're only looking in one direction, what can happen?
You can get run over.
I wouldn't go that drastic, but I was just saying that you might be unaware of something happening. So if you have a software that's only going towards one objective, right, the drawback is that it might be useless in a few years. Okay. But there's also, in every drawback there's also possibilities. So even though it focuses on one thing, right, that actually can be a cure sometimes depending on the company. So if it's focused on one thing, so if it is focused on one thing, it will have a target group. And these are essentially persons who will use the software, such as Microsoft Word is used by students and teachers. Those are its target group. My apology. My apology. Those are its target group. Okay? Can you still hear me? Okay, good. My apology for that. I don't know what happened there. So it has one target group, such as students or teachers, right? And then this means if it is done correctly, this company will have a loyal market. So that is the real reason behind focusing on one target group. But the drawback, if it is not done correctly, is that it might be useless. Okay, got that?
Yes, sir.
So those are the three types of software: general purpose, special purpose, and custom written and customized. Right? And that should take you into being well prepared for your exam. Right? Any other questions?
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Mm-hmm.
So like for the math testers, like we get in operations and the distance, but not that whole numbers, right, sir?
Right, because that is a pretty basic concept in terms of you having that foundation already. Right? So you'll just use application of whole numbers, such as decimals. Because remember, decimals have whole numbers in them. There's two parts of a decimal: the whole number and the fraction part. Understand?
What is the smallest number you can think of?
I can think of the smallest number being an atom size, which is 1.03 times 10 to the negative 13, something like that.
Well, so you can think of 0.infinity 0.1, sir.
All right.